Make this beat.
Is it love? Is it love right here? Ooh.
Okay, so I am on my way to work, and I just kind of randomly decided to make this video and talk about my autobiography, which is on Amazon.com. It is titled Unconfined Faith by Nyeisha, and it is on sale right now. So this is a great time to pick up your copy. So for a long time, I wanted to make these videos about my book and just go each chapter and just discuss certain things and elaborate on the way it made me feel and go deeper into detail. So the title of the book came from it took me a while. It didn't take me a long time, but I knew that I wanted my book to be about faith, because that's kind of what my life has been about. Learning what faith is and learning how to use it. But it's not like a Christian book, or it's not like it's just not like a Christian type thing. Basically, that's the best word I can think of. But it's not like a Christian type thing. It's just me learning what faith is and learning how to apply it throughout my life. And it wasn't something that was taught to me, it was something that was learned. So first off, I just want to say that I don't label myself as a Christian. I always say that I don't have a title as far as religion. I don't claim religion. I'm just a firm believer in God, and I believe in faith, and I believe in the power of faith and the power of God. And that's why my book is titled Unconfined Faith, because it comes from personal experience, not something that I was taught. So I wasn't raised up in church, but I remember when I was a little girl, when I was like 10 and 11, I used to wake up Sunday mornings and dress myself up and go to church. And back then, I never used to pay attention in church. I guess I just wanted to go to church just to have somewhere to go. I used to go with my aunt, because my mom and my dad, they didn't grow up in church, and they didn't take me to church. But my aunt is a Christian, and she always went to church, and she would always take me on Sunday. She lived across the street from us, so I would wake up Sunday morning, comb my hair, dress myself, and just walk across the street to her house and go to church with her, just to be going somewhere. I never really listened. I never really paid attention. But when I got older and started really experiencing life, then I started to think back on those church days, and I started to turn back to those church days. So as a kid, I never went through anything. I hadn't went through anything as a child. I had the easiest life. That's something I talked about in chapter 1. Like, everything was just easy. I never had to worry about anything. I wouldn't say we were poor, but we were kind of there. Like, we didn't have much, but my mom always made sure we had what we needed. And other than little things like that, like I couldn't always have the nicest shoes, nice clothes, hair was always nappy and things like that. Like, I was a rough little girl, and it was partially because I didn't care, and partially because, of course, my mom and dad didn't care. Like, they didn't take me to get my hair done and take me to go shopping and things like that. I did my own hair and everything. And yeah, I always looked rough, to me, in my own opinion. I know I did. But I forgot where I was going. But we had all the basics. Mom always cooked. We always ate. Never went without food. probably had little food or limited options, but we never went without food, never went without a home and, you know, utilities, things like that. Probably had our lights disconnected for a day or so, but we never just went without. But we struggled. I grew up in a struggle, but I was happy. I was a happy child. No matter what I didn't have, I was happy. And that lasted up until I was 14 years old. And this is where my book comes into play. So when I turned, well, I was almost about to be 15. We were having a party at our house. That was something that we did. That's how I grew up. We had the party house. So my mom was having her usual weekend party. You know, the family was over. Everybody was drinking and partying. And my sister, by the way, I have 3 sisters and a brother. They're all older than me. And my older sister, it was just me and her at the house at the time. And she was drunk, and, you know, she gets violent when she gets drunk. So one thing led to another. Fight happened with her and my cousin. Of course, I was just 14 at the time, and I wasn't wild like them. I wasn't the fighter. I was the quiet, laid-back kid. I was a child who never caused problems. I never did anything wrong. I don't know if that's a good word to use or not, but I was just an easy child to deal with growing up. But my sisters, they were definitely the fighters, the partiers, and all that. So the fight between my cousin and sister happened, and I told the full story in detail and in my book. And this was the same night that my mom passed away. So I don't want to talk about the whole thing or tell the whole scenario. I just read the book and it'll give full detail. But this was the same night that my mom passed away because of the fight and all the things that was going on. And it's like from that point in my life, that's when things started to go bad. I started to experience things on a level where I had not prepared for it. Like, life had not prepared me for what I went through. I had not came from a praying family, for one, a praying family who explained that life can get hard and, you know, things can happen. I didn't come from that family. I came from a family of, you know, you got to be tough. You got to play tough. You got to be, you know, you can't wear your feelings on your sleeves. You got to hide your feelings, and you got to fight all the time. Physically, verbally, emotionally, you got to fight. You got to be strong. You got to be tough. That's the type of family I come from. And not the type of tough family that's going to show you tough love and, you know, let you know that it's just tough love. It's the type of family that they want to overpower you. Like, everyone has to be above you in some type of way, whether it's materialistic, physical. Like, they have to be above you in some type of way. And yeah, we all came from poverty, I guess, but yeah, everybody wanted to overpower each other. And me, I was the quiet one. Like I said, I was always the quiet child. And people never really paid attention to me. I was always ignored. I was the one who, like, I would walk in the room and nobody would speak. Nobody would like acknowledge me in any type of way. I was that person. But after my mom passed away, I suddenly became like the topic of discussion for the family. I just all of a sudden became like this horrible person, and I wasn't doing anything that, let me not say that. I won't say that I wasn't doing anything that I shouldn't have been doing, because I started drinking at 14, and I started partying at 14, and I was just trying to find a place to fit in. And of course, I stuck to what I knew. And one thing was, I wanted my sister to like me. I wanted my big sister to love me. And like I said, I have 3 older sisters. My brother on my dad's side, me and my sister, and I have the same dad. But my oldest sister is who tried to take me in, but she didn't know how. She always listened to my other family members when they told her that I was this person, I was that person, in which I wasn't. And I always say, I was 14 then, I'm 27 now, and there's nothing nobody can do to me to make me feel like I need to lie about anything that I did, or to cover up anything that I did. But they always had this thing against me, to where they believed that I was just terrible. Like I was just a handful. I was out of control. Nobody could control me. But what they didn't know was that I was lost. And if I could go back and talk to the 14-year-old me, I would have grown up to be a whole lot better than what I am today. I would have grown up to be like amazing. Because as a child, and even now, sometimes I still get caught up in trying to be what other people want me to be. And that's how I became who I was when I was a kid. Because they didn't like me for who I was, so I needed to be more like them. That's where my mind was. I wanted my sister to like me. I wanted my sister to love me. I wanted to fit in with my sister. You know, you always hear about like little girls going to school and they don't have this and that. And that was me too. I went to school and didn't have this and that, and I wanted to fit in with other people. But it's bad that I had to do the same thing at home. I didn't even have a home as a kid. After my mom passed away, I didn't have a home. I was house to house. And I just needed somewhere to fit in. And it wasn't at home, and it wasn't at school. Because at home, everybody just had this image of me, because, I don't know, they thought I was having sex. They just thought that I was always chasing boys. But the thing was, I wasn't chasing boys. I had my eyes on a boy, but I wasn't chasing boys. But at school, the boy that I did have my eyes on didn't too much have his eyes on me. But I knew what I wanted, and I kind of stuck to it. And so from the age of 14 on up till I was about 22, I dealt with that guy. And I lost my virginity at a young age. And I had sex once and didn't do it again until, well, it was after I graduated.
So it was like a year later.
But I talked about all of it in my book. And I wasn't innocent per se, but I wasn't a wild child either. I lacked one thing that was very important, and that was guidance. I didn't have guidance. And if I had guidance, I would have turned out to be a whole lot better than what I am today. And I feel like I'm on a good path right now in life because I didn't allow my circumstances to keep me that way. But it's like an emotional battle daily, fighting against who I wanted to be, who I thought I was, and who I was trying to be versus who I really am. So that's three different people. Who I was, who I tried to be, who I thought I was, and who I really am. So, as a kid, I was just fighting to be this person that I wanted to be. I wanted to be like my sister. I wanted to be like the girls at school. I wanted to be like the girls I hung around. I wanted to be just like them, just like other people. Then the older I got, I kind of started to fall into being this person that I thought I was.
I thought I was that party goer, that,
the fun, drinking every weekend, every other day,
actually
just partying. And I was still in
college. I went to college.
But my mind was not in the right place. My heart was, but my mind wasn't. So I went from being who I thought I was, or who I wanted to be, to who I thought I was.
And now today I'm still fighting to become who I actually am.
And I keep allowing my surroundings to change me. And that's the worst thing that I could have done, was allow my surroundings to change me. For each video, I'm going to talk
about something different.
I'm going to talk about, probably bring up an actual situation that happened when I was a kid and talk about it. And then I'll talk about me being an adult, talk about my sickness, talk about my epilepsy.
Actually, I can talk about my epilepsy now,
since this is starting from when I was 14. I started having seizures when I was
15.
And like I said, I was never
sick or anything when I was a kid. Never
been to the hospital, never went through anything except, my sister told me that I had to have surgery before when I was a kid, but of course I don't know. She said when I was a baby, so of course I don't remember. But I never had been hospitalized, never was sick, never had to take medicine, never been through anything, nothing, until after my mom passed.
But it's like everything changed
in that moment. And after 1 year after my mom passed away,
not exactly a year,
but like a year and a few months, I had my first seizure. So I was in the bed, sleep, and I was staying with my sister at the time. I told you I went, I don't know if I said it or not, I went to live with my sister for a little while, tried to make that work, but it didn't. But I was staying with my sister at the time, and I was in my room, sleep. And she said, well, I just woke up to paramedics in my face, and I didn't know what happened.
Every time I wake up to paramedics in my face, I think I'm dead. As crazy as it sounds, I always think that I have died. But I woke up to paramedics in my face,
And like I said, I thought I was dead. And my sister was standing there. She was on the phone, and she was just telling the paramedic that she was in her room and she was on the phone, and she just heard the fan fall. So she came in my room to see what was going on, and I was on the floor and I was shaking, and my eyes was rolling to the back of my head. And when I heard her say that, I immediately started crying, because I'd never been sick. Nothing ever happened to me. I didn't know what was going on, what was wrong. So I got on the ambulance, and my dad came, and he rode the ambulance to the hospital with me. And of course he cried, and I didn't talk much about my dad. My dad has been in my life all of my life, and I believe that my dad is a great dad. They always say we can't fault our parents for not giving us what we need, because they can, they only give us, they raise us the best way that they know how. And I feel like he's just the father that he knows how to be. He is very loving. He has a big heart, very kind, and he gave me partially a good example of how a man should treat me. Maybe because he spoiled me, but not materialistically. But I think he's a great dad. He's just not, he just wasn't what I needed in my life. He couldn't be the person that I needed in my life. But he rode to the hospital with me in the back of the ambulance, and when we got there, they did a CT to check my brain and everything. Everything was normal. Everything was okay. So never had a reason for me to have a seizure. It just happened. Nothing had happened. It was just random. And so I remember the doctor telling me that most people have at least one seizure in their lifetime. And that was, unfortunately for me, I became epileptic. So I started having seizures consistently not from that point. I didn't have another seizure until a year after. And when I started, with each seizure happened about a year apart, up until I was about 23, and I actually got medicine. The thing that I dealt with after my first seizure was the jerks, and they're like a pre-seizure symptom. Like when I start twitching and jerking, it's like muscle spasms that I have no control over. And once I start feeling those, it's like I may have a seizure and I may not. Most of the time I come out of it without having a seizure, but a lot of times, especially when I first wake up in the morning, a lot of times it means that a seizure is about to happen. I'm more than likely going to have a seizure. So by the time I turned 22, I felt sick, and this was something way past the seizures. It was something with my reproductive system. I found out that I had a cancerous tumor in my uterus, and I'll talk about that later on. But from that point, I was able to get medication for my epilepsy, and with the medicine, my body became adjusted to it, and I couldn't do without the medicine at that point. And the reason why I started on the medicine was because of the twitches, the jerks, and I needed something to control that. And like I said, I would only have a seizure maybe once or twice a year, and the jerks are what happened the most, and they were embarrassing. And I always knew that I couldn't drive if I was twitching and jerking. I couldn't do much of anything because I didn't know if I was going to have a seizure or not. I never knew if it would happen or not, but I knew that was a sign that one would come. I never just randomly passed out and had a seizure. It was always it was always after the jerks and twitches. But after I started taking the medicine, my seizure went up to about 4 or 5 a year from that point. And the doctor told me that, just having 1 or 2 seizures a year is not good because of the damage that it's doing to your brain. And this will be another reason why these videos will be so important to me, because my biggest fear is that I will have Alzheimer's when I'm older, because that is exactly how I feel after I have a seizure. So Sunday I had a seizure, and today is Friday, and I'm still not fully back to myself. From the moment I had the seizure up until now, I've been like trying to get back on track. I always remember what's important to me. I always remember like the things that I think about daily and the things that I do daily. I remember those. But the small things, it takes me a while to get back to it. And that's part of the reason why I decided to go ahead and make this video, because I needed to vent. And I don't really have friends. I have a friend, but I don't really have people that I could just call and talk to without being judged, without them feeling like, I don't know what people think of me really, but I don't really have people in my corner, let's put it like that. I mean, I have people in my corner, but not those type of people where no matter what time of day it is, no matter what you're going through, you can call and talk. I don't have those kind of people, because I mean, we're grown, we all have our own lives, and I'm not even, I am, but not completely that friend who will be just available all the time, no matter what, to talk to you. And I will stop what I'm doing to listen and to try to be supportive when someone calls me to talk about something, because I understand what it feels like. And I try to be to people what I want people to be for me. And I don't get that all the time, and that's why the people that I have in my corner who are that way towards me, I appreciate them. And I won't name them right now, but it's only a handful of people who has been that for me. And every time I talk about these people, I get emotional and I cry about it, because like I said, I grew up in a family where you had to be tough. Like, you can't cry, you can't show weakness. Nobody cares what you went through. Nobody cares that they hurt your feelings. Nobody cares about any of that. They don't care. All they hear is you complaining, you making excuses. Like, I've been told that before. I've been told a lot of harsh things because of my emotions and because of my feelings. And that's why, or another reason why I turned to YouTube, because I watch a lot of family, videos and stuff about people, and just people in their daily life, like just people who've been through things and just talk about their lives. I love watching shows like that. I love watching movies like that. And now that I'm into YouTube, I love watching people like that. Just people record their everyday life and make videos about it, and I just want to listen. I just want to watch, because I love to hear it, because I come from a family who told me that my feelings don't matter. Basically, they make me feel like my feelings don't matter. And now that I have accepted me for me, I feel like I need to be even more for other people. I have accepted me, and I'm still training myself to be better and to stop holding back. Because one day my story is going to mean something to somebody. My story is going to change somebody's life one day. And I speak that over my story myself. My story is going to change somebody's life. I just have a feeling it's going to be a little girl out there. I'm sure it's a little girl out there who needs to hear my story. Who needs to hear, that you don't have to be what people expect you to be. You don't have to fit in with people. Just do you and be you. And that's the strongest thing that I can live by at this point in my life. To do me and to love me and to live for me. And now I have a 7-month-old son to live for as well. But the strongest thing that I have done was fought to be free. And at this point in my life, I feel like I have accomplished that. I feel free because I have let go of so much. And it bothers me that anytime I have a seizure, it takes me back to that person that I used to be, that emotional person, wanting to cry all the time, wanting to explain myself all the time. And I hate that side of me. I hate that part of me. I don't want to be emotional. Yeah, I want to tell my story. I want to talk about the things that I went through, the things that I experienced and how I overcame them. But I don't want to be weak. I don't want to be emotional. And it may be because I may be traumatized because of the things that my family has said to me. But this is my opportunity to not be weak, to be strong, and to also show them that my story does matter. The weakest parts of me is what made me strong. I don't go around talking about my story and the things that I went through to get somebody to feel sorry for me. I don't talk about it to make people, feel any type of way except motivated and encouraged. That's all I want to give to people. And I just hope that one day my story makes it far. And I will keep making these videos from this point and talk about my experiences, which are listed in my book, like I said. I'll keep talking about it. And I don't know, one day you may hear me talking, I may seem emotional, one day I may seem tough, one day I may seem nonchalant, one day I may be fine. Anything. My moods change, my attitudes change, but my story is what made me. And that's gonna follow me for the rest of my life. My story, my experience, everything is gonna follow me. And I wasn't prepared for this video. This was so random, this whole video. So I know I'm probably talking about stuff that makes no sense. I probably sound crazy, but I feel like it was worth it because I needed to vent. And I didn't really vent about what was going through my head, but I was able to go back to my book. And that's something I always do, go back to my book and where I started from. I always go back where I started from and build myself back up. So, like I said, this video was so random, unorganized. Didn't really talk about nothing specific but my book and my experience. And in the next video, I have to figure out what chapter 1 was about because I don't really remember what I talked about in chapter 1. But this was my introduction. And it was mostly about my epilepsy. So this was the intro, and in the next video it will be chapter 1. I will go back and read my book, and I will get some things together and figure out what I can talk about in chapter 1. And that's all I have to say.